for your support. I'm glad we were victorious today. And we shall resume in the Senate on Tuesday.
We love you! We love you!
Well, yes, in our preamble, we did say that there's a clear difference between, the court ordering Natasha to report and then asking the Senate to reinstate her. The reason there are doubts in the polity because of the pronouncement by the court is because of antecedents, things that had happened before. I want to recall precisely as Senator Ineke back in the day, who was of the APC, who won election in Benue. And when the courts, pronounced him as the winner of the election, it took the Senate a lifetime to reinstate this man. Guess what? It was already in the twilight of that Senate or session before the gentleman was sworn in as senator. So as he was coming, they were exiting. And unlike governors, and I think in the case of president, even though we've not had a president go to court or return, like we had a few, where we have off-season elections or staggered election today, of course he had to go. And only in one occasion or on one occasion that we had the court say that all that a former, member of the House of Representatives had earned, that he should pay back to someone who won through the court. So the Senate now is saying they are giving conditions. They are not saying they are appealing the case. You see the problem? So the court now seems not to have any powers. Where the court says do this, the Senate today is telling the court we can do it only on so and so condition. So where does the power of the judiciary lie? Because in all honesty, I see a Senator Akpoti, right, wanting to come tomorrow, and I see roadblocks for her. Yes, she did say before the last video that she was coming. That was where she was talking to those, her supporters who came to the court, even on the day that was Friday. And then she has actually put up another video in that regard. But I see roadblocks on her way as she prepares to resume tomorrow. Because the Senate obviously is going to maintain its stance.
Definitely. Well, for me, the Senate spokesman, Yemi Adaramodu, was just trying to be clever by half. If you take a look at the judgment that Justice Binta Inyako read out on Friday, there was no condition attached as to when or how Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan should resume. What Justice Binta Inyako simply said is, in terms of a suspension, it was like using a hammer to kill
An ant.
That if this punishment the Senate meted on her was excessive. Yes, the Senate has a right to punish erring members, but if you take a look at the legislative calendar, senators are expected to sit for 181 days in a year. And out of that 181 days in a year, you suspended a senator for 6 months.
Which is
That's
equivalent.
Which is equivalent to one full legislative year. So in other words, you've denied the people she represents access to federal government's attention. Their voice would not be heard because their senator was suspended. So the judge made it clear. Now, the conditions that the Senate spokesperson talked about, or trying to make Nigerians believe that Natasha must fulfill these conditions, the conditions have nothing to do with her reinstatement. The conditions or the punishment that the judge gave to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan have to do with her going against a court instruction. She was being punished for contempt of court. Remember when this matter was going on, there was interview. Today, the Senate President would release a statement. Tomorrow, Senator Akpoti would react and what have you. So at a point, the judge said, no, enough of this. Until this matter was decided, there should be no talking from both parties. But unfortunately for Natasha, Senator Natasha Akpoti, she went out of her way, wrote a satirical apology letter to the Senate President, and that letter went viral. It is because of that letter that Justice Binta Nyako fined her 5 million naira and asked her to make an apologize, making use of various platforms. So for me, it is really clear the Senate has two options: either to abide by the court ruling, allowing the woman to resume her responsibilities as the senator representing Kogi Central, or go to court, that's the appeal court this time, and challenge the decision of the lower court. These are the options available to Senate. Anything short of these, the Senate is just embarking on self-help.
Well, for me, historically speaking, if not that the Senate became very overbearing and overreaching, using the words of the Honorable Judge and Justice Binta Nyako,
That's right.
there had been a lot of indiscipline in the various senates of the Federal Republic, even from the Second Republic. We had a senator, Isidi Ali, bring out a gun on the floor of the Senate before, and we used to hear about legislative immunity. We had those who brought, Ghana must go, Naira notes given to them, the Jagaban, Jagaba. Jagaba, Senator Jagaba at the time. He poured it on the floor and said, this na money when I take bribe or see my owner. That's what they do here. We had a former AIG who became a senator after retirement, who pointed at some persons right on their faces on the floor of the Senate and said, when I was at Alagbon, most of you here, you, we arrested you and investigated you over this and that. There was supposed to be, an action or a reaction to that. We have had so many. Edin Omelayo did so much.
Omar Agege,
and many others that we can still point to if we have time. Now, is somebody being covered here? And is the person the Senate President? Because the actions of Senator Imaswen, right? I hope that's the name, and many others who purportedly were supporting the Senate President, the Nwebonyis of this world, their actions at that point in time, supporting the Senate President, it pointed to, the fact that they were trying to cover somebody up. This same Senator Akpoti Uduaghan has been able to go to court over other issues. As we speak, those ones are not in the limelight. They are not being talked about. Anyway, I ask the question all the time, where are the powers of the judiciary? Particularly when they have made the pronouncement. And then the technicality that we're talking about. The Senate, which purportedly is the enemy of Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan now, is the one that you think will willingly open, its arms and say, okay, you are welcome, you are reinstated. No, they would put roadblocks. Already, Adara Modu, right?
That's right.
He has spoken. And I want to believe he was speaking the minds of, some persons in the Senate. Unfortunately, Natasha has some supporters in the Senate, but they are not talking. So it is one against many is the big problem. But again, the coming days will tell. Beginning from tomorrow, when we expect to see, and I think there will be a lot of cameras there. As a matter of fact, there will be drones flying around the 3-armed zone in Abuja to see indeed if Natasha is coming to the Senate. And I want to believe also that her supporters, who are in their numbers, are of course, getting up or raring to go.